Well, hello everybody. We made it to Module 3, the UN Resolution 1514 binding world law. This is the resolution where Russia signs the Declaration of Human Rights 1948, making it 5 out of 5 if the world would ratify this 1514 decolonization, meaning ending colonialism. We're going to go through it. We're going to go through some important points for third class, second class, and absolutely all First Peoples. There is a clause in here that we all have to go through together, or it's all for nothing. But I'm going to go through each and every point. It's not very long. You're all going to be happy to note that we're going to introduce at the end of this the binding resolution made on equality and integrity of a UN state. And we're going to get through that. That'll be the next module, Module 4. But this one is big. It's big because, one, no Canadian knows of its existence. Absolutely First Peoples don't know of its existence. We're going to go into why this was so important for the First Peoples right here in Canada, specifically all those First Peoples absolutely under the Indian Act. As we go through this, we're going to go through all the points. I'm going to highlight a key note here. That when Russia presented this UN resolution, not one P5 member voted no, and the General Assembly voted resoundingly to pass it, including Canada. Canada signed on to the Soviet Union's resolution. It became world binding law. But what did it do for the First Nations attached to the Indian Act, the First Peoples in the Indian Act? It ended all enfranchisement. We got sex put in there, and with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, it was no longer now made binded by 5 for anyone to do enfranchisement against First Peoples. The Supreme Court ruled in 1961 for absolutely the First Nations to end enfranchisement, to end the stealing of women's sovereignty, to take their culture, completing the extinction of it, the genocide of it, the final assimilation, or we will take your children. It's all part of genocide. But it ended, this portion of genocide, just a small portion of genocide, ended in Canada only because Russia finished the UN Declaration of Human Rights by presenting this and passing this resolution. Russia's conditional signature if the world made this binding law. This is the law in 1960 where Russia guarantees the Declaration of Human Rights 1948 if the world votes for this resolution. And they did. Majority rules. And guess what? Russia's bound to it too. This is the day we get 5 out of 5 for the Declaration of Human Rights 1948, and we end all colonialism. We're going to go through that now. But remember, all First Nations attached to the Indian Act, Treaty Indians, all of it, all of you, enfranchisement was forced upon Canada to be put to an end. Forced. Russia did that for you, the Soviet Union. Believe it or not, Canadians, that's the truth. Absolutely bound into international law, mandated against Canada. Did Canada do any more other than that? No. Few more examples following it. We'll get into those resolutions as you all go through this education. First, we're going to start with the breakdown of this 1514 UN resolution, decolonization, the end of colonialism in the world today. It was to end the exploitation of people. Everybody. Has third class or absolutely the First Peoples here in Canada ever had an end since 1960 of exploitation? No, absolutely not. Look at the treaty lands. Look how much crown lands not available to second, third, or absolute First Peoples here in Canada. None whatsoever. They're being exploited. They're being kept down. They're kept on limited reserve systems. The redder you are, the deader you are. I hate to say it like that, but I didn't make the laws of Canada. I didn't write the Constitution. I most certainly did not write the Indian Act. That's what Canada does. That's what they've always been doing. Since 1960, we see the White Papers, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, and Jean Chrétien continue forward in full assimilation mode. After this was signed, they take a big honkin' spit in the face of the UNSC allies, World War II allies, spit in their face, tell them to take their international laws and shove it. Number 2 of decolonization, absolute self-determination. Do First Nations have self-determination, let alone self-government and independence? No, not at all. USA has done this. Everybody. Richard Nixon, post this, Richard Nixon didn't win that election. He campaigned when he won the election in the 70s after JFK. 10 years later, Nixon ran in 60 on this platform, shared with USSR. Nixon didn't win. He returns 10 years later, wins president, and absolutely gives the American Indian self-determination. USA honors the international law. Richard Nixon gets the job done. Forward goes on because we all know he was assassinated by character according to the communists. But the reality was Richard Nixon was bringing forward the end of apartheid against the American Indian. And guess what? He did it. And his vice president went on to replace him as president and kept his word and finished Richard Nixon's self-determination law. And the American Indian got tremendous lands, 500 times more land than any First Nations combined, or First Peoples combined, even with the massive Métis settlements on treaty land, with treaty land. So that was number 2. Number 3, and it's stated like this: lack of political, economic, or education should not be a pretext for delaying the independence of a peoples. Meaning First Nations, in their gross mistreatment, lack of infrastructure, culture, the rest of it, because it's been assassinated, should not be the reason that Canada justifies keeping them down. That, oh, we have to take care of them, we have to have this system because they can't make it on their own. Of course they can't make it on their own. You made it that way. You're genociding them. Your laws are created just like Nazi Germany during World War II. You've made the same laws because you made them first, and you've kept it going even until today. The whole of the Indian Act is to destroy culturally, spiritually, and the soul of a people. Absolutely, to keep them as a lower form of a human being in Canada, which is against this binding world law. They said, ready for this? Number 4, all armed actions and repressive measures shall cease. Independence and national territory respected. That's never happened for First Nations. That is an absolute violation by Canada from 1960 all the way to today, right now, as I'm giving this video. They're still doing it right now. Somewhere there's a reserve getting their land stripped from them by the government. Absolutely. Somewhere a third-class citizen is getting evicted out of their property because somebody has decided to build some other project there, regardless of who owns the property. 5. Territories not yet settled or are trying to get independence. There should never be a distinction between race, creed, color, for complete independence. So First Peoples, you fall into that. Even in a trust system where your land has been taken and the government's holding it in a treaty trust that should be abolished and we should be back to the negotiation table. It should have happened immediately in 1867, but it didn't. And it didn't happen when we hit 1945 and that system was outlawed. Right there, it should have happened. 1948, it should have happened, just like India. It should have happened absolutely in 1952, but the Liberal Party of Canada, the Conservative Party of Canada said, hey, let's take this power for ourselves. The world will never, ever be any wiser, and we'll just blame it on the Queen of England. Number 6. This is the most important piece from 1514 World Binding Law Decolonization. Most important part of this video. All third class, second class Canadians, absolutely all First Peoples in every designation, regardless of Indian Act, meaning Métis, Inuit, Treaty Indian, non-status or unceded or off reserve. There's more lists that go on here. British treaty from the past, doesn't matter. All First Peoples, absolutely all Canadians under the Crown colonial system, meaning those not the first class citizen. This is binding law beyond this treaty even mentioned. USSR puts this in. Unity tied to UN Charter 1945. National unity cannot be breached. We can't break the UN State of Canada. Meaning, there is no going forward as Canadians against the first class on their own without the First Peoples. First Peoples, you can't go any farther forward without the third and second class Canadians, meaning none of us can do anything unless we do it together, and it must be outside the first class citizen. This is mandated, registered in the 1945 UN Charter that Queen Elizabeth told all of you in 1956. You can look at my Barrie video. I'll be presenting live on a stage with the greatest world academics in the world as a third-class citizen on the same recorded video. It's the top legal minds alive today. That's a fact. You can all look at the other speakers on events. You'll find, I tell you, 1956, which is what Russia told you in 1960, reaffirming it. We can't do any of this with the first class, meaning we have to break them, but we can't do it individually. I mean, we can't be just the third class or the second class business group or First Peoples on their own. We can't break up this country and wreck its unity in that kind of narrative. We need to do what Richard Nixon did. Think of it as two nations in one. When I said to the treaties 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10 in 2019, I said there would be two reps, one of the Albertan and one of the First Nations. This in Canada will have to be one rep from the Canadians, one rep from all First Peoples that you elect, both of you elect. That's how it works. 2 spots, 2 voices, 1 country. We have to find a way to eliminate the colonial first class, which is why we're creating the CCP party. But by law, by UN Charter, meaning this is absolute law of the world, we can't violate this, or nobody is going to support anything we do. This is why I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's. I do this every time. This is the most important point in this entire decolonization. Even though it's all tremendous, this point tells all First People and all third, second-class Canadians not bound or sworn to the Crown, which is colonialism. You can get what you want, but you have to all do it together. Do it together. If you can't do it together, it can't be done. This is how the first class has been able to keep on going and going and going. Even though all the things listed here, it's because we could never get somebody to come forward with a platform in number 6, going back to the UN Charter, and number 7 is important too, but this one is huge because it absolutely addresses the First Peoples and Canadians outside of a sworn to the Crown oath or allegiance or imposition or working for the government or being the government. We the people means two distinct peoples here, and they can't be crowned. They can't be crowned. That's the truth, everybody. Okay? Number 7, Charter UN, which means you have to follow the UN Charter of 1945. And there are a ton of rules there, and UNSC is all laid out for you there. How we go about the General Assembly, which we can't do because our first class won't. But the tools are left for the UNSCP5 is the narrative I've spent 4 years, which I'm breaking all of this down as we get one of the UNSCP5 to present our resolution. That's what this education is. We must maintain, this is number 7, you guys, the Declaration of Human Rights. And anything we're going to do and going forward for independence, we must enshrine the Declaration of Human Rights, which Russia does by just making this resolution and having it ratified by the entire world. And third, which you guys aren't going to get yet, it's in the next module, the Declaration of Equality and State Integrity. We're going to go through that. This is all about water rights, which we don't have in Canada, and not equally. I've seen you, Ontario. I'm going to see you, Quebec, but I already know the narrative. But physically, I've seen you, Ontario. Upper, lower Canada, you've got some bad juju here that breaches exactly Declaration of Equality and State Integrity. Water. Okay, everybody, just to prove my point here, how Canada is unlike any of our allies, and to prove a point, why are water rights enshrined? The civil right of water. That's a civil right, everybody. Rivers, lakes, ocean, all that is cemented in every single of the 50 states of the USA. Show me where it's enshrined in Canada, besides acts and bills that can be changed on a whim or a moment's notice. Why are some peoples in Ontario living on rivers, literally peeing and crapping in the river, dumping their garbage out like the Yangtze River? Why are they allowed to do that here but not other parts of Canada? Shouldn't it be abolished across the board, right? Because in the USA, they have serious rules and civil rights on that. It's why a pipeline is going down and Canada can't get it back. Canada snuck one in there. But USA, America first, they ended all that. And that's why we're losing the Great Lake Pipeline. But Ontario and Quebec have created a different system in a colonial era and done some things that are inappropriate in the world since 1945. Not going to get into that in this video, but we are. It's an introductory into the next video. This is a short one. The next one's going to have a good lead up, and then we're going to start just banging them off. And by the end, going into next week, we're going to finish with us building a resolution after all of you have had this tremendous education of modules. And you'll be ready with everything you've learned to go forward. I'll post after this the next training session module video, and you guys will have that before the next video. Study. Tomorrow you'll be able to study it too. Thanks, everybody. Any questions in relation to decolonization? I'll scroll through. We got 10 minutes. I'm only doing a half hour tonight. Let's see here. Scrolling through. Man, a lot of people came and went, eh? 46 on anyway. It's still good. Let's see here. Holy smokes, it's a lot, man. I'm just scrolling. Everybody got on tonight, though, so obviously there were no issues, I hope. But okay, here we go. Now we're getting good evening, boss. Hello, sir. Jonathan LaBelle. Cody. I don't know, there's probably more, but holy smokes, it's a lot. Sorry, everybody. I'm trying to get there. Okay. Hi, Dave. Hi, Anna Marie Viti. Joe. What do we got? I don't know why it's scrolling like this. I wonder if I can scroll down there. Okay. Thanks, Dave. Nice. Thank you, Dave. Later, says Dave Burgo. Lars, remember, we can't go forward until we free those ghosts first. That is a deed, and we earn the right to make demands. That's right, Lars. Absolutely well said. Tanya Huizinga says implementation of water rights needs to be done. Yeah, and you guys, there are literally, when you go to the USA, I know everybody, okay, Constitution of the USA, federal constitutions, right? Great, and the USA's got a great constitution. Did you know of all of that and all its amendments is pale in comparison to the individual state constitutions? Individual USA state constitutions are between 250 to 475 pages in length. You want to talk civil rights, government, the absolute breakdown and division of powers, every ounce and rule the Governor General's got to go through. They go through all of it. The states actually had older constitutions than the United States itself. Think of it as like the first EU, but it's a nation and it's a UNSCP 5 member, very powerful institution. And the states, the 50 themselves, the regions, are key to the USA's might and strength. And if it wasn't for those states, the federal government could have possibly turned into a lot like Canada itself and become very autocratic. But even with what a lot of people say, look at the power of the states. Look at their tremendous constitutions. You want to read water rights? Read UN state one of the 50 state constitutions. Pick any one you want. There are massive pages just on water alone. It goes into everything. Like I said, they haven't missed anything. And a lot of these constitutions, constantly amended, constantly updated. They keep going and going and going. It's tremendous. Each state has differences of court systems. They can be called legislatures, parliaments, assemblies. The list goes on and on. There's about 6 different types of political systems in the sub-regions themselves. Even courts, the way they call them, how they're labeled, how they work, all different, every single one. There's a soul of each of those regions enshrined, as strong as the United States itself. And when presidents get elected, they find out, which is what I've been trying to tell a lot of people, they can campaign on all kinds of baloney, just like Canadian politicians. But when they get elected, all of a sudden that all comes forward, and it's like, oh my God, there's 250 people around me 24/7. This is all constitutional. There's state imposition. I'm not able to bullshit my way through this. I have to follow all these rules, or I risk some serious problems, and it will be all over the news. I am not the president I thought I was going to be. None of my campaign promises, most of which I can't do. There's checks and balances. There's people watching what I say. There's people around me all over the place. It's not the same for a prime minister in Canada. He's isolated with just his cronies, his privy council, and he mandates whatever he wants. And if he can't, it's not his executive directly, it's Governor General's, who's sworn to him anyway. And he always has the power of the Senate, appointed and sworn to him. Think about that. It's crazy. It's nuts. And people talk about Russia, Putin. I don't think so. One-party system doesn't trump absolute autocracy of a dictator, whomever you elect. Who cares how many parties we have if they're all absolute autocrats with serious overriding overwhelming executive powers with no rules of governance, how to govern, or accountability. And more so than that, a whole two classes of people who aren't even in the Constitution. You go to Russia Federation right now, you read the people and the fatherland. Supremacy of God, meaning all people are of the same value, no one's higher than God. That's not Canada. We give our divinity to the politicians. They're absolute autocrats. It's sick, you guys. Anyhow, this is my presentation and I gotta keep going. Later, said thanks, imitation water, it needs to be done. Oh, I hate it when I... Okay, that is why they pit them against us, and all the politicians do. It's so we all don't unite. Me, I tell everyone you're Albertan first, Saskatchewan first, etc. We are all Canadian united, we stand. That's true, Betty. Very well said. It's what I'm working on to give people a narrative they need. All together now, thank you, Tina. Chad says, I'm with you, let's all take our country back, no more fake division. We have to have the same enemy and it's not each other. That's right. And I'm going to try that on World Constitution Day. There's a lot of groups, that's nice and berry, left and right. We're going to see if for once we can't unite them. It's not Edmonton. We're not done yet, you know. Everybody says hi, good evening, Dave. It's nice to see you all. I don't know why this thing scrolls. Thank you, Dave, Anne-Marie. Leroy, can you lend me $7 so I can get some water? Can't drink it here in Lake Almasask. I know, that's sad, Leroy. I know Alberta, Treaty 8 is just as bad, and even into some of Treaty 6. Treaty 7, I would think the Blood Reserve might have issues too. I'd have to go down there. It's been a while. It's sick, it's sad. Can't share again, Brenda says. I don't know what to tell you, Brenda. I'm public, so a lot of the times when the video's going or after, I'm pretty sure the government's watching it. You guys, I haven't looked recently, but upwards of 2 months ago, for 2 years, I've had over 650 posts reported. I've only had 2 failures. One was a joke I thought was funny. Facebook didn't find it funny. Another one I posted, and it was on guns. I was trying to give away some child guns from my girls. They had outgrown them, and I listed it for everybody, someone I'd known. It's a big no-no on Facebook. That's it. That's all I've been nailed for. The rest has all been verified, even with all the crap, but it causes a lot of trouble. So I think the issues I have now is that government wants to go through it, and there's a lot I have to tell a lot of you. I know there's a lot of people getting excited. They want to do a lot with our party. We're not registered yet. You can ask any of the Albertans in-house here, my loyal Alberta followers. Trust me, listen to me. Donations, not a good idea. Memorabilia right now, not a good idea. I can show you a history of Albertans who went through that and got nailed to the wall and got banned from politics. There's 2 laws that govern political parties and even the formation. There's do's and don'ts. I've mastered all of it, already been through it. I never failed, never got into trouble. Didn't do any of that until the actual election period. Everybody, we have to be on that stage. Once we're registered, there's a lot we can do, and then there's limits of what we can do at what times of the year and when. There's a writ drop period. There's, like when the election's called and dated, there's a period there. We can do a whole bunch of stuff. Trust me, I'll roll that out when it's time. Right now is not the time. I get everybody's heart. I do, the messages. But as of donations and money, nope. We're not there. When we get all that done, you guys will be the first to know, and we'll go through it, and I'll give that education. Just as the education for EDAs. Just Canadians who are new to all this, trust me that I did this in the province of Alberta as a third-class citizen. It was very successful for a majority cast in a one-chance shot that they said was impossible. So I'm going to try and repeat that for the 338, and we need to cross our T's, dot our I's. I know we'd love to have buttons, shirts, license plate, all that. A time will come for that. It's just not now. It's not legal right now, and it will only hurt us. I can show you a whole list of people blocked, penalized, and can't run in an election. I've had the best of best people with the best intentions. One guy running a video with a jar while he's doing his town halls and people couldn't put money in the jar. He got ratted out. They have the Facebook Live video. Boom, banned from politics, thrown out. Couldn't run from MLA. That's the truth, guys. Got to be very, very clear. If I'm not mandating stuff, I never ask for money. I don't ask for donations because we're just not there yet. When we get there, we will be. Off topic, sorry. I'm breaking my own rules. Later. Nice. Thank you, Dave. Thanks. Oh, what's this? I am with you. Let's take our country back. No more fake division. Yep. What time do we need to be in Barrie on World Constitution Day? 12 noon, everybody. 12 noon, Barrie, Ontario. By the end of this weekend, once I get everything I need to get done, we still have other people to work on. I'm going to have everything, but it's 12 noon onward, and it might go pretty late, actually. Depends. We're going to see. I don't have the schedule yet for everybody, but I want you all to see the world experts. This is just a handful of some of the greatest minds in the world, and I'm invited to speak on their stage with them. A lot of American academics, so you start looking these people up. When you go to the events page, look up the speakers. You'll find they're world-renowned and a lot bigger, better countries than Canada with a heck of a lot more stroke. And I'll tell you, these are world-class speakers. I wouldn't be allowed to be here. Tina wouldn't be allowed to be there. And our other speakers come up. They wouldn't be allowed to be there if I hadn't already been well vetted for many, many years and proven myself on that academic stage. That's the truth. I never lie to Canadians. I never have. I didn't lie to First Nations either. I don't lie. I learned along. What kind of political career are you going to have? Why would I run for premier and then lie my way through federal? Politicians lie, but when you get caught in bold-faced lies where you make substantial claims and it's fake, nobody, you don't recover from that, right? I tell everybody I have the best legal minds in the world, and I'm lying. I'm not lying. I've been doing that for years, and I've collected and amassed the best, top, smartest legal minds in the world. Canada can't even compare. They have a couple, but they've already all been moved on. They've been purchased by other countries. They're now in other countries. They were top 10 in the world for Canada, but now they're top 10 for other countries. That's the truth. But they're with me. Trudeau and the other clowns are now acting like Sideshow Bob, still pushing to make us all criminals for even backing the movement. I choose to defy these criminals to the end. Well said, Richard. That's what we have to do. They're criminals, you guys. They're criminals. They're unlawful. Betty says they do it to women as well. Nationality doesn't matter. Think back to the 60s, but look at the women of the RCMP and military. Yeah, and right now, Betty, and that's institutionalized colonialism. We can't help those first-class citizens. That's the problem. The best thing we can do for military and police is break the first class and then absolutely create the constitutions, freeing the police, the military, the justice system, all of it. There's a whole bunch, you guys. We haven't even gotten started yet. The constitutional conventions are really going to blow you all away. It's what I really want to see, the platform. It's just incredible. And that will be published for all of you. We'll see. And well said. Well said. You're all going to see it. And we will save the police. We will save the military. We will save the lawyers, the justices, the nurses, the government officials appointed or under the employ, sworn. We'll save all of them. And it will be done by you, the people. You will create the constitutions. How to govern, rules of governance, and absolute accountability. And it will change the way police operate. It will change the military. You guys can save everybody. Not only that, you, the people, can actually create a system and an example that will lead the world. That's why we're doing these resolutions, so that you'll all understand how to design the resolution that's going to go forward, that's going to be against Canada. And should Canada sign that, it's their death sentence for these corrupt colonial politicians. Time for payback's right. I gotta get my notes. Be right back. Right on, Allison. Good for you. That was probably some time ago. Well, there's probably lots of comment. Chad, I'm with you. Let's all take back our country. You betcha. What time do we need to be in? Oh, yeah, you said that one. I wonder why it scrolls down all the time. Everybody's asking about the Constitution Day. 12 noon p.m., Barry. Implementation of Rotter, yeah. You're the man, Dave. Thanks, Robert. Oh, I don't know why I keep scrolling to me. Thank you. I look forward to that. August 1st, almost here. Yeah, thank you, Kathy. The RCMP, yeah, but in their ranks, certainly not all of them are corrupt. No, CJ, even military, not everyone's corrupt, but when your job, and lawyers too, but you know what I mean? Those kind of careers, either you go through a lot of schooling or you isolate yourself from society and your work group. It's its own little culture. It's hard to go back from that, right? You know what I mean? It's hard to go through a career in life and invest all that time, money, and change your whole lifestyle, your friend's situation, and then go forward. Oh, Mike says, call me Dave when you can. I will do that, Mike. It's going to be tomorrow. I'm going to try on a break, and tomorrow night's all yours, Friday night, Mike. We're going to get you worked out because this is huge. Told you, Mike. You got to be pretty impressed now. I have lawyers that want to be involved. Well, that's what we need, Mike. That's what we need, but they got to be Canadian. Canadian lawyers. They got to be. And we're going to have a talk about the presentation because, you know, this is USA-led. USA-led, really, and we'll have to have a talk. These lawyers got to understand, but I love it. We're going to talk. We're going to talk tomorrow. Tomorrow's all yours. Tomorrow night, Friday night. And Colleen says, have shared. Thanks, everybody. Great night. Great video. That was part 3, module 3. Huge, impactful, real, legitimate, live and in action, verifiable, credible. And I am going on the world stage with the greatest legal minds in the world. So is Tina Marovich as a treaty Indian. Never ever done in world history. They all want to know about it. They're recording it. It's going into the U.S. The president's backed this. So is the Republican Party. Absolutely, partisanly. And you know what? The P5 is too. I'm tagging all of them in it. They're all going to get it. And you know what? They're all going to love it. That's reality, because I don't do anything half-ass. 4 years in the making, everybody. And we're just starting the sprint. I told you all, we're sprinting through this year. I wasn't joking. And they laugh at me. I don't think they'll be laughing by 2023. God bless all of you. Good night. See you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Thank you all. Good night now.